Hey, welcome to Late Night with Larry. We're here doing it once again. I'm here with my co-host, Vince. Vince, give me a shout out.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to another episode, one of the final episodes of Late Night with Larry.
That's right, because we will soon be transitioning.
Hopefully, there's a lot more involved than we thought. We're hoping to already be switched over.
Yeah, but, you know, we can. I'm actually just looking for the backdrop, and then we're good to go on that. So, being that said, you know, we're going to do what we do, and I think tonight we're going to talk a little bit about, we just recently went up to the Jemez Mountains for one of our annual trips to go.
Before we get started,
there's two things. Hit the subscribe button. And if you want to get in touch with us, you can do it at latenightwithlarry55@gmail.com or cryptidcrossroads505@gmail.com. So hit the subscribe button and reach out to us.
reach out and touch me.
Boom.
Here's to you guys. Peanut
Butter. Very good.
Yeah, like my brother was saying, it's not really an annual trip. It's just there's so many months out of the year we could go out there because they lock it up. I think one of the main reasons is they do get a lot of snowfall, and it just gets terrible out there. And, you know, these people will go and get stuck and starve to death or freeze to death.
If you don't know what you're doing or where you're going and you're a newbie out there, it could be big trouble for you.
Yeah. Now the forest road we go back on, it's pretty bad. It's in bad shape. And we've seen people in little cars, they make it, but you could hear them grinding and rubbing all the way on the rocks.
You can, and you wonder, why would you bring that car back here?
Right.
Nonetheless, they do. Anyway, we were out there recently, and we were out there, and we were a little more comfortable this time because my brother has acquired a camper. And it was nice to sleep inside, out of the elements,
In a bed.
yes, and not freeze your ass off.
Right. It was nice. That was our first time in the camping trailer. Neither of us have a whole lot of experience. Our father had a couple when we were younger.
Right.
But as far as doing it ourselves, it was a learning process.
It was.
And boy, we discovered we've got a lot to learn.
Yeah, we did learn. But nonetheless, we went there with the expectations of getting some activity. But on this night, it seems like someone found our place off the beaten path, and they had quite a bit of company. And any chance that we were going to have any activity was, from the get-go, shot out the window. They were just playing music loud all night. They had some karaoke lights up, and I was like, what? Why did they do this out here?
They had the four-wheelers going until all hours of the night. And,
Right.
you know, I understand you're on a forest road, it's secluded. And, you know, if you want to get loud, go for it. But if you have neighbors, you know, have a little courtesy. Some camping etiquette. And,
Yeah, we were trying to attract squatches, and you guys were making
right.
it
And not only that, you know, we were relatively close. And then they start shooting off guns.
Yeah, it was one of those nights where I said, these guys right down the way are drunk, and they're going for it. But, you know, we did have one good thing come out of that night. We usually have good activity in the sky when we're up there. And we did see another UFO tonight. And it was interesting, very interesting. I was telling my brother, maybe it's because where we go, we don't have no light pollution, so you could see the sky so much better.
Right.
And it seems like it's a little clearer too.
Right, it is. It's when there's no clouds, it's crystal clear, and you could see a million stars.
Right.
Now this thing we saw, a UAP, is that the?
That's a correct term, is a UAP.
Right, but it was stationary. Then we saw it take off. It stopped for a while. Then
Right.
it took off again.
Yeah, and I know our conventional aircraft, as we said in another podcast, they just don't do that. And that's why we call these UAPs, because we can't identify what's up in that sky doing that. And it seems like when we're out there, we see them. constantly. Now, my brother saw one this morning, and before I could get my eyes on it, it went behind the clouds.
Right now, it was I'd say about 10 o'clock in the morning, broad daylight. We're both stone cold sober, up in the morning. We're just relaxing out in the shade, and I saw one flying, and it was a white cylindrical object. It looked like a commercial airliner without the wings. That's what it looked like. And I saw it flying, and I told my brother, look at that. And then it went in the clouds, and then we lost it. The clouds disappeared, but
Right.
I couldn't trace where it went.
Yeah, and it seems like the last time we had some really good luck. When our brother went up with us several weeks back, the UAP we saw and the way it zigzagged in the midair, I'm never going to forget that. That just blew my mind. I thought I might have seen an optical illusion, but no, my brother saw it too.
We all saw it, all of us. Now, last night after we saw the first UAP,
Right.
there was another one. Now, it was dimmer, which tells me it was just a lot up a lot higher.
Right. And it would, and it moved in the same manner, real slow, and then we lost that one too.
Yeah. Now, the thing all three of these have in common was there was no sound.
Right. And we saw jets that were flying about the same level, but the difference is you could hear the jet engines. Even from that altitude, you hear a faint, because it's so quiet out there, except for our neighbors. You hear the faint rumble of the jet engine as it passes by. But with these things we saw, they were silent.
Right. And now the one I saw this morning, there was no noise. And I know it was a lot lower because I saw it looked like an aircraft without wings. And you know how you could see about the size of an aircraft up in the sky?
Right.
This thing, from my point of view, was at least an inch way up in the sky. So it had to be pretty close.
Right. Yeah, I know. We see them at all different heights, but the thing, like we said, that differentiates them is that they're silent. You don't hear no engine. You don't see no propulsion. You don't see no exhaust. Go figure, people.
Right. Now, my brother was telling me a documentary, which we'll probably talk about next time, which deals with this. So maybe that'll shed some light on it. But I got to watch it myself also before we could talk about it.
Yeah, and I would like to talk about it, but I want to get all the facts straight, because I don't want to give you any disinformation. I'm not the federal government.
We were at one time.
Oh yeah, we were. But we other than that, we had a pretty relaxing, interesting trip. But this was, like he said, a learning experience, because we've never been back there with a camper, and it was a learning experience. But nonetheless, it was fun.
The trip went good. It wasn't as good as it could have been, but it's better than it usually is.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but it just I don't know. It just kind of killed everything with the noisy neighbors.
It did. Now, I was telling my brother, I recently seen a photograph on the internet of supposedly, and I want to say it's a female Sasquatch carrying her young across a river. And that picture's been circulating all over the internet. And I asked him if he's seen it, and he said he hadn't. But I'm going to try and get it to him so he could have a look at it. Now, I looked at it, and I try and blow the picture up and zoom in on it, and it looked genuine to me. I mean, we know there's hoaxers out there, and we know there's CGI, but if they were trying to, pull the wool over our eyes, they're getting better and better at it.
But let's look at it this way: who can really afford good CGI without a budget?
Not me.
Not me. I don't even know what it stands for. That's how poor I am.
Right. And the picture was clear. It wasn't what you would say a 4K picture, but and it was from a distance. But it was genuine in my mind. I thought it was genuine, and I just thought, wow, that's crazy. They carry their young across water just like a human would, until they're old enough to tread water and make it across herself. When I think about it, these creatures possess so many traits that humans do. And, it does make you wonder, do we share some kind of connection with them?
Right. And we have to. I mean, the theory is that there's human DNA. Now, do they have human DNA or do we have primate DNA?
Right? Who knows? That's the golden question. Kind of the same question: which came first, the chicken or the egg?
Right.
I always say it had to be the chicken because it takes chicken to hatch an egg. Who sat on that egg?
Right. Yeah, but the chicken would it evolve from a lizard? I don't know.
Oh, maybe. Here, Lisa.
If the chicken came first, that chicken's a selfish lover.
That is a selfish lover.
No, I'm just kidding. This is a rated G, rated G.
Oh, we're rated G now for the G spot. Okay.
J for gooder, G.
No, but we were up there and we were hoping to get some good activity, and we were hoping, if not anything, that we'd get a Squatch coming peeking in the windows or shake the trailer.
And I believe if our neighbors weren't so noisy, that the Squatch would have came in closer, because they did have children, and I believe the sound of children, it piques the Squatch's interest.
Right. I believe that as well.
Yeah, when I had my best encounter, one of my best encounters is because we had two, my son and my daughter and another. They were all pretty young. I had them all. So that's one of the reasons I think they came so close.
I think you're right. I mean, it makes a lot of sense to me. They hear those high-pitched little voices.
Right. And if I would have known then how expensive my kids were, I would have let them take them.
Right. There you go.
I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
No, but I think you're right. I think those little voices do track them.
Right. And like I said, I think the first one was a female, so the maternal instinct kicked in, especially if she has no children or maybe she lost a child, that makes it even stronger.
Right. That does. I've never taken any of my children out there. So
yeah.
I mean, they went out there, but they never went squatching with us.
Right.
We always just went out for a ride or, hung out for a little bit and came back. But, if I could get a Squatch to take them. Oh, wait, they're all out of the house. No, never mind. No. So it's
but I believe that what really killed it, not so much the sound, but I think the gunshots, because last night we cooked dinner on like I said, last night was a learning experience. I forgot the barbecue grill, so we had there's a little store on the way up to the mountain, and we bought a disposable barbecue grill. So I cooked some pork chops on there, and when you cook pork chops on there, some of it sticks. There's little pieces of meat left.
Right.
I left it out to cool. And you'd think maybe some wild animal would smell it and go, but there was no sign of anything.
Nothing. And it was moist out there. So the first thing I looked for when I walked around was tracks. I didn't find no type of track, no Squatch tracks.
But the thing about that is it is moist. There's a lot of grass.
Yeah. But I think we would have saw some type of print in the mud. And I didn't see not even a coyote. And like you said, he left that out to cool, at least a raccoon. Well, we did see some brave chipmunks.
Oh, and by the way, they love Doritos.
That's right. They do. They love Doritos.
Now we know why they call them chipmunks.
That's right.
Yeah, there's a million chipmunks everywhere.
Oh, they were everywhere. But it was a good time nonetheless.
Yeah, and we did have what we think were UFOs, UAPs, whatever. So we're hardly ever disappointed when we go out there.
Right. No. If we don't get some type of activity from what we possibly think is a Squatch out there lurking in the distance, then we can always rely on the sky.
Right. The funny thing is, when we first started going out there, we didn't look at the sky much.
No, we didn't.
Just, I think one time we took your wife's grandson.
Yes.
And my daughter and her friend, and they're laying in back of the pickup looking at stars, and they pointed out something. So that's when we started looking up.
And that it doesn't. And my thing is, we always get more activity up there. And my theory still is going to stay that I think it's because we've detonated some of the first nuclear weapons in this state. We continue to do nuclear research, and I just think that's what attracts them, and that's why we have so many.
Right, and if you're familiar with that area, it's not far from Los Alamos.
No, not at all, not at all. I think that they already are here on Earth, and they've been here on Earth for a while. But, that's just my personal thought. I've just heard so many stories from there again, Dulce, New Mexico, that supposedly there's underground hubs for these aliens, and that, at one time we had I would say confrontation, not so much a war, because we couldn't win a war against these people.
Right.
But it was a confrontation, and one of the persons involved, he disclosed it. I've read many stories from not only officers up there in the Hickory Apache Nation area, but from our own state police. There have been stories of up in that area at night, what they've seen in the sky, and and they themselves say they're UFOs, and they can't explain what they're doing, but they could tell you how they moved, and silent, no jet propulsion noise.
Right. Our own brother-in-law is a retired state police officer, and he told me one night, south of the town they live in, when he was still active, that there was a rollover or something happened. But they took everyone out, and he had to wait there for the tow truck. And he said he saw some pretty interesting things up in the sky.
Right. Now, if you've never seen anything up in the sky yourself, maybe, you ought to get away from the city lights and just give yourself some time and scan the sky. But don't do it rapid. Scan it nice and slow.
Just
and pay attention.
Get yourself a nice, comfortable chair or cot and lay there where there's no light pollution. And if you're laying there where you're still, you could see movement better.
That's right. And you'd be surprised. Now, you are going to see planes and whatnot, and you'll know they're planes because they have their beacons going, and they're
and you could usually hear them.
And you can hear them. But once in a while, you're going to see something, and you're not going to know what it is, and you're going to question yourself. Was that a plane, or what was it? And you may see some odd maneuvering from this craft,
right? And
that'll change your mind. You'll be like, there's no way a plane could do that.
Right. Now, going back to a couple weeks ago when we saw the one zigzag, I questioned myself what I saw. And I was thinking, did I really see that? Just because we've seen lights out there before, but I've never seen one zigzag like that.
Yeah, that blew my mind. That's why I said that one I'll never forget. Just the way it zigzagged, and so with rapid speed, just zigzag, zig. I was like, oh, wow.
Right. And just do your own research. It's amazing what you could find not only in the sky but in the forest, if you would just look up from your phone. I think a lot of things are lost now with our generation, younger generations, because of the technology. Everyone's looking at their phone.
Right, everyone looks down and no one looks up. And we talk about these races that were master astrologers, the Mayans, the Egyptians, And
that's all they did was look up.
The Chinese people, and they looked up to the skies constantly, charting the stars, understanding them. That's where they gained their knowledge of the seasons, and
right. Even back to the Greek times, they're the ones who mapped out the constellations.
Right. So, and I'm sure that they have seen things themselves, because all these tribes and all the people that we talk about all have stories about visitors from the skies.
From the skies, another world. They all phrase it different, but basically it's from somewhere else.
Right. And
there's even depictions of, like, some of the gods, maybe in Roman or Greek times, flying on a disc-shaped object.
Right. Yeah, so I don't think we should dismiss this topic and think just because the federal government said, oh, it's another country, they may have something that we're unaware of. And now we do know that that's a lie.
Right.
Because if they had it, we'd know about it, and vice versa. It just seems like governments can't keep secrets from each other.
Well, they can't. And I think they don't on purpose. I mean, you hear all this in the news about how Russia's military was off Hawaii and how China's flexing their muscle trying to beat us.
Right.
But yet we all work together in the space station and all these other efforts.
That's
Why is that? What's going on there?
right. We don't get it. Here on Earth, we want to blow each other up, but up in space, we'll all work together.
Right. And maybe here on Earth they don't want to blow each other up. It's just a game. And I've always thought that the government they're trying to pit the people against each other.
Right. I did hear something interesting. I think China has a rover that just touched down on Mars.
Right.
I think they now have their own. They're assembling their own space station. I think currently there's 2 astronauts up there.
Well, I just hope it's better quality than the stuff they send here.
If it's the same stuff, you 2 Chinese astronauts better come down today.
Right, because it's going to break in 6 months.
That's right.
Yeah. No, I don't buy all the hype about the military and stuff. I think it's just a show. Of course, everyone wants dominance, but I don't think no wise person anyway wants a war.
No.
Especially now with the technology, because if it turns out to all-out nuclear war, everybody in the world loses.
Yeah, with nuclear war, there's no winners. There's no winners. There's no losers. We all lose. No one wins.
Right, and even the innocent pay. That's the sad part.
Right,
and the thing about it is everyone's innocent. Except for the world leaders. They're the ones who have the problem. It's not us. I mean, when I was in the Middle East, I met the Russians there, and you meet people. You've probably met people from other militaries,
Yeah,
and
I have.
people are people. You get along great one-on-one, and
Right.
but it's our government's pitting us against each other.
That's what it is.
But anyway, back to the UAP.
That's right.
Yeah, I was asking him last night why there's so much activity over our area, and we did talk about Los Alamos and the Roswell crash and
White
Sands, and maybe that's why New Mexico's a hot spot.
I think it is. I think for years and years and years, and even after I'm gone, this is still going to be a hot spot.
Right.
There's just something about this part of the country that it's a hot spot. Like I said, we detonated some of the first nuclear bombs here. That's a big one right there.
And I believe that got their attention.
Yeah, and I think because we all know that radiation just doesn't go away overnight. So, and like I was telling my brother, maybe we can't see it, but where the bombs were detonated from their aerial view, they could still see, the ground that's radiated, and it's like us using infrared to see through the dark. Maybe they have technology and they could look all over this planet and see where we've detonated these weapons.
Or like a black light, you could see cat pee.
Right. Yeah. and also where the fallout has landed.
Right. And not only that, don't forget, down south we have the nuclear disposal plant.
That's right. The whip plant.
Yep.
And that's a mess. Keep that stuff buried in the salt. But yeah, I mean, I hope they're taking it deep down far enough, because if not,
Well, but still, even as deep as they could take it, what happens if it leaks? It's got to have some kind of repercussions.
It does. And if it leaks, we're in trouble in this state. We really are.
It might be already leaking because my hair and my teeth are falling out. Or is that old age?
I think that comes with age.
Oh, okay. Well, we're okay for another episode then.
Right. And I think once we start detonating nuclear weapons, I think we really got their attention. I think they don't want us to use these type of weapons, because we've even heard where they have the capability to maneuver around test missiles and disarm them, and they go tumbling away, or go to the silos themselves and show that they could dismantle these weapons at any time that they choose.
Right. Now, it'd be interesting if one country launched an attack on another. Would they intervene and shut down the missiles? Or
Wow. That is an interesting theory. And I don't want to put it to the test.
No.
Just in case they decide to say, screw it, let's let them.
Just like the parent, they got to learn the hard way.
Let him. He keeps playing with those matches. Let him burn himself.
Yep.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to see that because, that, like we said, no one wins in that situation.
Right.
No one.
Right.
But it was overall, it was a good trip up there.
It was, and like I said, it never disappoints. And you know what? The best part, even if there's no activity, we go up there and there's usually no cell service.
Right.
I don't know why last night my phone was pinging, but
I know. I was like, "You got service out here?"
well, we were hoping it was an alien.
Right.
That Crescent girl messaging me.
She's telling him, "I'm going to come visit you about 1 a.m. Make sure that door is unlocked."
Yeah, I left it unlocked all night for nothing.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's nice just to get away from the grind of things and disconnect, because when we go up there, it's truly like recharging your brain.
It is. It's so good to just go up there and do nothing and just relax.
Breathe the fresh air.
Right. Breathe some fresh air. Just lay around, doze off and on, and yeah, it's really relaxing up there. Like we said, we're hoping for some interactions with the Squatches, but it didn't look like it was going to happen this time. But like, nonetheless, we still enjoyed it.
Even if something would have came around, we wouldn't have heard it. All we heard was boom, 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 boom. Yep. I thought I was in the old Mexican Blackbird Trail or something.
We thought we were in a Mexican standoff movie. We're like, what's going on over here?
I was waiting for Josie Wales to ride up.
That's right. And we were going to tell him, you're not supposed to be able to sneak up on an Indian.
He'll tell us your only part.
Yeah, that's true. That's why he was able to sneak up on us. Well, anyway, that's about all we wanted to bring to you tonight.
We were hoping we'd have more from the trip.
Right.
What we did saw was pretty cool, but we wanted more. We loved the UFO activity, but we craved the Squatch activity.
That's right. And
even though sometimes it scares us out of our chones.
it does. And we did want to talk to you about Squatches, but we didn't get that. But we got the UFO activity, so we'll bring that to you.
Yeah, and we're planning very shortly a whole week trip. So
yes, and
the last time we went for 3 days, that was when we had some good activity until the last night we got the loud people.
That's right. And I'll be sure to take my equipment again. That way we could do some on-site podcasting.
Right.
And
if you guys want to start a GoFundMe so we could buy that whole property and no one will go disturb us, that'd be all right too.
Yeah, they reach out to us and let's get that started.
Yeah. And we want a 4-bedroom cabin.
That's right. And we only say 4 bedrooms so that we could have visitors.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks for listening, and we hope you enjoy what we brought to you tonight.
That's for you.
That's right.
That's better than boom, boom. That could be our new intro music.
Right. Anyway, peace out.
Peace.